Hi, I'm James Eade of the Eade Foundation, but you can call me Jim. A little bit about me. Who am I? Well, I'm a chess player first and foremost, and I got started during the Bobby Fischer boom. I started playing chess in 1972 in rated chess. I was a freshman in high school. By the time I was a senior in high school, I was able to win in adult tournaments, and I became a FIDE master. What is a FIDE master? It is someone who is strong enough to fight with grandmasters, but not strong enough to become one. So I decided I would put my attention elsewhere, and I started writing chess books. I wrote 5 in total, but this is the only one that people have heard about, Chess for Dummies. And but okay, that's enough about me. What about the Eade Foundation? Well, the Eade Foundation is designed to help you build a chess community. And you build a community by playing chess. And if you're part of a community, you're never alone. And so the Eade Foundation helps those who do not have the resources, the ability to purchase chess sets and boards and things like of that nature, help them get started. And they take it from there. They build a community. And this is something that we do in other countries, with countries that don't have the ability to they don't have the resources to start. Like we've got programs in Uganda, Zambia, and we've got programs in Cape Town in South Africa, in a place where they just can't afford to buy chess sets and equipments. Bhutan. We help other countries, Nicaragua, but we also do things in the United States. For example, we help senior centers get chess sets and boards, because when you're in an advanced stage, playing chess is a solace. But if you give the gift of chess to a child, it's a gift that can last a lifetime, because it's helpful as a child, as a learning tool, an educational tool. And the skills you learn at playing chess are directly transferable back into the classroom. So these are the things, as an adult, it can be a pleasant pastime, or it can be a competition. It's up to you what you want to do and what you decide to do. So we try to help with chess literacy, and by that we mean teaching and the ability to read and write chess notation so that you can read chess books like Chess for Dummies. And we also try to excel in chess excellence. We have the Arthur Award that we give every year. It's a $1,000 award to the best essay that is consistent with the mission of the Eade Foundation, to support chess literacy, support chess excellence, and to build communities through chess. And last year's award-winning was Lexi Root from the University of Texas at Dallas. But we do things all, not only seniors, but also scholastics. So we want to do this from all levels, age level, because chess is intergenerational. You learn to play as a kid, you can play as an old man, and it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what country you're from. It doesn't matter what language you speak. Chess is for everyone. And if you can't find a chess set or a chess board, you can contact us. And one of the ways you can contact us, let me just change the scroll at the bottom of the screen, is you can go to my website, our website, eadefoundation.org. You can send an email, eadefoundation@gmail. You can watch some of the things that we've done on YouTube, some of the prior videos. Or if you're on Facebook, there's a Facebook page called the Eade Foundation. That's a way to get in touch with us. But what are we talking about today? What's the question that we want to answer? And the question today is, what do you mean when you say democratic chess? I've heard this term, but what does it mean? I don't know. So I've asked a guest to come on and explain what democratic chess means to me. And my guest today is Alexander Starr. We call him Sasha. Hi, Sasha. Thanks for joining.
Hello, Jim. Nice to be here with you.
Thank you. And so what does democratic chess mean to Sasha Starr?
Okay, just a little bit of history. The chess is a king's game. It is not a democratic game. It's a king's game. The king is on top of the world. And then the other, like challengers, like now it's Jan Nepomniachtchi from Russia, they are trying to wrestle title from the king and become kings themselves. So in order to become a king, you have to kill the previous king, and therefore you will become a king, and then somebody else will try to do the same to you.
Hmm.
Now, what it all has to do with average people playing chess? Frankly, uh, next to nothing, and I'll tell you why. If you try to see the chess game as the first of all, it's a history of a mankind because all ever happened on a board of chess for the last few hundred years is always connected to overall chess history. Also, chess is a part of arts, and the artistic value of chess is incomprehensible. It's very, very difficult to overestimate. Um, I wouldn't go into chess history of the chess games. To you probably know just as well, maybe better than I do, all the historical, beautiful games and positions and so on. So I will just mention one maneuver which I'm still impressed with. I talked to Jim about it earlier. It's fourth game of the match between Emmanuel Lasker, then world champion, and the challenger. Uh, Tarash, Dr. Tarash.
A great
And
player.
yeah, he was one of the greatest players of his time. And in a fourth game, with a score only 2-1 in Alaska's favor, so that game was extremely important. And Tarash had white pieces. And in about slightly worse position, but say about equal, Lasker played incredible maneuver with his rook. He played rook e5 with a board full of pieces yet. And then rook next move, rook c5. So he complicated rather simple position. And of course, Tarash wanted to refute this concept. And for a while, he was playing the best moves, and Lasker was very inventive there. And then he played a couple of probably second, third moves, and slowly Lasker outplayed him. So his lead was 3-1 at that point, and he won the match. We know the rest of history. But coming back to democratic chess, so there are millions of people who love the game, but they are just onlookers of world champion who's a king and the challengers who are trying to dethrone him, but they have nothing to say at all about what's really happened at that time in the chess world.
Yes.
So I've invented this chess site, chessstars.com, and that site has a unique option where people can watch the game of two grandmasters in real time online, and they can also predict the moves, and the best predictors are getting cash prizes. So how it works is, for example, white plays e4, white grandman, whoever plays white pieces plays e4. So now they have 15 seconds, at least 15 seconds, to guess the next move of black. Now, they do that just by moving peaks on the board. You don't have to type anything or anything. You just move your piece, and that's your prediction. And interestingly enough, you can put 5, 25, or 100 crowns on that move. And then whoever gets the moves, the prizes, the crowns are divided in proportion to what everyone has. All that done automatically, almost instantaneously, or actually instantaneously, not almost. And so that creates very interesting atmosphere of competition. Who will get most crowns, and of course wins the prizes. And so this way, people are actively not just watching the game but participating in a game, and they have experts commentaries, live commentaries, and they have stockfish right on their screen. Recommendations are usually top three moves of stockfish, so you can listen to commentaries, you can assess position as the best you can, and you can also see stockfish assessment of position and recommendations for the best moves. So you have a wealth of information to predict the next move. So this way, the democratic aspect of the game is that they are also part of the creation of the game, not just passively watching what grandmasters are playing. So I wanted to, yes, I'm preparing to take it really to a next step as to organizing a world championship for the best moves predictors. So what I'm planning to do is to have 100 qualifying tournaments with substantial cash prizes, but the top prize in each tournament is going into the final 100. So the top place in each qualifying tournament go into final 100, and they will be playing now for a big cash prizes. And it depends on the organizing plans. The top prize will be $500,000, which is not too far away from the top prizes in top professional chess tournaments. I think probably a world championship would have a bigger prize, but we're talking about only first year. Now, second, third, and so on years, I think the prizes will exceed those of the world championship. So now there is an outlet for rank and file chess players to, first of all, entertain themselves. It's also educational because they can learn the game from the top grandmasters. And finally, for an average chess player to win $500,000 or millions in later years, I think it could slightly switch the all demographics of chess and all aspects of the game. See, because what I've noticed is that once Alpha Zero reach a rating of 3,500 and the world champion has and his challengers 2,800, some more than that, but not much. So if you're talking about chess as a preposition to find the best move, you don't need world champion or all his challengers. All you need is Alpha Zero, and you will see the best move right there. So finding the best move is no longer a preposition. Alpha Zero fills the void. So now we are talking about practical aspect of the game, finding what this grandmaster in this particular position is going to play. That's much more interesting propositions than simply finding the best moves, which has already been solved. There is no such thing as a best move. There is Alpha Zero. For a best move, go right to Alpha Zero. You don't need Carlsen or Nepomniachtchi or anybody else. So this is why I think there will be renewed interest in chess because finding something. See, like before in the older days, the chess books written by top players, including world champion and his challengers, others, it was a great interest. Everybody was waiting for a new book to come and buy it and read it or so on. Now, let me ask you one thing. Let's see, there will be a book of say Nepomniachtchi or Grishchuk or somebody else, my best 60 games. Who would buy that book? Nobody, because there is nothing to comment, because all the commentaries are done with the help of Stockfish or Alpha Zero anyway. And everyone, this is, I talked to, I think last time I spoke to Gena Sasonka, who wrote a lot of brilliant chess books. And he said that he wouldn't even attempt to write a book about the games of all those grandmasters, because all he would do, he would go to Stockfish and analyze every move. So it wouldn't be Gena Sasonka's book; it would be Stockfish's book. And
Alexander, I would like to say that this was one of the things that I really admired about Yasser Seirawan. He produced this wonderful magazine, Inside Chess, and he put his analysis right out there. So he didn't have time before his deadline to do a whole deep, and we didn't have the computer engines at that time. So he would put it out there, what his best thinking was right away. And I so admire that and so appreciated that. But even that kind of magazine is no longer of use when we can just plug in the game into a computer engine and it can tell us what the best moves were.
I'm so sorry to hear that, and I was one of the shareholders of
Yes,
the companies that owned the Inside Chess. It was a wonderful time.
it was
Unfortunately,
wonderful.
many years ago. Yeah, high quality
And
publication.
Sarawan had this courage to put his best thinking out there, and could be picked apart by others later. But he didn't mind the criticism, and it was so valuable to the player because it would come out regularly, and we would get the latest games. But that's not the world we live in anymore. We can follow the games in real time now on the
Yeah,
internet,
uh, it's
and then
it's
plug them into a computer engine. Yeah.
yeah. Um, Actually, that was one thing how I came with this project is at that time I was in Moscow and there were very popular tournaments, Tal's Memorial, and
Oh,
we are
yes.
talking about like 10, maybe 12 years ago, and they had fantastic facilities. Like usually it was like in palace, or so some tournaments were held in right in the middle of Moscow in. Fantastic facilities, and there were online, right, real-time commentaries by at that time. Genesis Sonka was one of them, of course, and there were others. It was, I think, it was before Yasser Seiravan came on stage as a commentator. It
Yeah.
was somewhat later. Yasser is one of the best.
He's one of the best, no
Yeah.
doubt.
But another one is Peter Svidler. But sometimes
Oh, Fiddler is
was
fantastic. Yes.
playing, but he was playing in this tournament sometimes, so he was
Uh-huh.
doing. Now, what I was doing is when I would come to the hotel in the evening, and because I attended all the rounds and I was privileged to be in the press center, what's a very interesting thing? In the press center, there were grandmasters who, of course, used Stockfish and analyzed the ongoing games. And once the game would be over, let's see, I think it was a game Carlsen Kramnik. Once they finished the game, they didn't even analyze. They rushed in the press center asking, I think it was Maxim Dlugi at the time in the press center. So they were asking, oh, did you see Stockfish? What is Stockfish I should have played? This or that or so on. So it was really funny how they were.
But my producer is bugging me now, Sasha. He's asking me to ask the human interest questions. Like you mentioned Moscow, but you're not from Moscow. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Odessa. Odessa chess life was very great at the time. They had very good coaches. They had strong players. All of them became very strong grandmasters. Tukmakov, unfortunately late Lerner, and Mikhail Podgais, who was many times coach of Anatoly Karpov, and Lev Albert, and many, Sam Palatnik, who is now, actually he lives now in Toronto, by the way. I spoke to him a couple of times.
And that's the other question was, where do you live now? You live
now
now
I
in
live
Toronto?
in Toronto, evidently in Toronto now for many years.
Yep.
It's a fantastic place. Unfortunately, real estate prices skyrocketed lately.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Nobody can touch a young family if starts out.
I don't know how they do it today.
No.
Yeah. But so how did you get started in chess? You said it was a great culture for chess in Odessa, but how did you get started?
I was in a music school of gifted children, which produced talents such as David Oyster and Emil Gilels and many others. And music is my love, it still is. And at the same time, my late father, taught me to play chess, and I was fascinated with the game. And he bought for me 3 books. I think it was 300 Games of Alexander Alokin.
Yes.
Then David Bronstein, the Grandmaster's Tournaments in 1953. And it was Averbach, the Endgames book.
Wow.
So,
He had good taste.
Yeah. No, my father was... He just knew how to make the moves. He didn't, but he wanted me to develop sort of a taste for the game, and he saw that I like it a lot, and I started to outplay him very quickly. So then I was a champion of the school very quickly. I guess other people didn't have those three books, so I progressed, and then not too far. I live right in the center of the city in Odessa, and there was a famous Odessa chess club. So sometimes I would just go there for my curiosity, and I attended sometimes lectures and lessons by top coaches. And one of them, I met him many years ago. I think in 1996, before he passed away, unfortunately, in San Francisco. He moved to San Francisco. And when I was still a youngster, when in 1963, when Petrosian became world champion by beating Botvinnik, and he was showing one of the games of the match and asking, "Do you have any questions?" I raised my hand, and he asked, "What's your question?" I said that I don't recognize Petrosian as a world champion because, yes, he proved that he is better player than Botvinnik, but he never played me. So how I could be assured that he's better? He was furious, and he immediately said, okay, sit down, and we will play the game, and I will show you that for you, I'm a Petrosian, Alohin, and Capablanca all at the same time. Say, okay,
Wow.
let's play. So he started to attack me, sacrificed almost all his pieces, and I won easily. He almost passed away. And he said, okay, now we're going to play second game. I'll show you. Say, okay, sorry, I'm not interested to play players like you. He was a strong master, by the way. No. I want to play Petrosian. I want to
Yes.
make sure that he is a real world champion and not an imposter because he never beat me. So how can he be a world champion? So that was very interesting. And in 1996, when I met him in San Francisco, we were talking about this
Yes.
episode. He was laughing, and so did I.
Of course. But that's the youth. That's the confidence of youth. He hasn't played me.
Yeah. Funny enough, after Montreal's Tournament of Stars in 1979, Karpov and Spassky came to Toronto and they were giving samples. And Karpov first, he played in the best at that time shopping center, Eaton's Center at the time. And I was playing against him. And he won almost all games, and I had extra pawn. And so what's happened is that he finished all his games. So now he put a chair and he sit right across. And according to the rules, I had to reply immediately after he makes his move. In this situation, Karpov offered me a draw. And I said, but Anatoly, I have extra pawn. And he replied in Russian, we don't play pawns, we play chess. After that, I agreed.
Wow.
I played very risky opening. It was in Spanish. On a third move, I played bird variation, knight d4. And I equalized and even had extra pawn, as I said. But next day, Spassky played simultaneous exhibition on CN Tower, the tallest structure in the world at that time.
Yes.
And, I decided to play the same opening against him because I did so well against Karpov. My problem started in the second move. After e4, e5, he played f4. And he won in 15 moves. I couldn't offer any resistance.
Yes.
Now that Spassky is playing f4. Wasn't my day.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't, your opponent gets a move too.
Yeah, before move 3, there is move 2. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So I want to get back to see if I understand the democratic chess that you're promoting, and the URL is scrolling across the bottom of the screen now, so you can just go to this. Well,
what we have, we call this a contest. So all this show where two grandmasters are playing and all people are participating in that and guessing their moves, and they have cash prizes at the end of the game. All that we call a contest. And the contest starts once both grandmasters are at the board. Then contest is being created. We have about 15-20 minutes for people to register for the contest. And then, of course, the game starts in whatever time. No, normally we have that on Saturdays at 3 o'clock. So
Saturdays at 3 Eastern
we
time.
have summer break right now, but we will resume in August. But I would think second Saturday of August.
No, that should be very exciting. So you have two grandmasters, and the viewers can see the grandmasters. Is
They
that
can
right?
see their faces, yes.
Their
They see
faces,
them. They
and they
see
can
the
see the
board,
moves.
yes.
They and they can see the stockfish analysis of what they
Yes,
think is
okay.
the best next move.
Okay, what they see is that basically the screen is divided in two. So on the left side of the screen, they see the board and all the moves and everything else. On the right side, you see the contests window. In that window, you see the stockfish recommendations. You see the your standing in a contest, how many crowns you have, and you have leaders of the contest, how many crowns they have, and so on. So you can always see your standing. You can always see. Sometimes, let's say there are five cash prizes. Let's say you're in the sixth or seventh place. So in order to get into prizes territory, you need probably to play a little bit riskier and maybe to put not 25 crowns, but 100 crowns on each move in order to improve your standing in the
Wow.
contest. So it's a little bit psychological as well, because let's see if you are leading, let's say you're in the first place. Now, what's your strategy? If you start to play 25 crowns, so whoever behind you, because first prize is far the biggest one. So obviously they're trying to catch on you. So they are going to put 100 crowns in each move. And if they are right, they will be a threat to you.
Even if you are right, you didn't bet as much. So
Absolutely.
yes.
So it's a little bit some psychology is involved. Um, some management skills are essential, because sometimes you let's see some grandmasters, their moves is very difficult to guess. One of them is Alexei Shirov. uh,
Yes, I know him all too well. I played him one of the game a game one time, and I was he dared me to sacrifice. I had to sacrifice because it was a dare, and then he crushed me. But his moves are very difficult to predict.
Yeah, Alexei played a few contests on our side, and some of his moves are absolutely brilliant. And there are several moves where no one could guess them. So what's happened in that games? All once nobody guessed the move of the Grandmaster, all the crowns are carried on to the next move. So the next move is becoming juicy and yummy, because
Yes.
if you will guess it and you're right, you will get a hell of a lot of crowns. We have one contest a couple years ago, was won by 11 years old boy from Vancouver with a rating of 1500. And at that time, we had people participated, including Maurice Ashley.
Ah,
It's one of the
so the democratic process isn't just that it's open to the masses; it's that anybody could win.
anybody. It doesn't matter what's your rating, what country you're from, what skin color you have. It just
Doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
This is brilliant concept. I can't tell you how interesting that is, because if I was guessing, I think this is probably a mistake people make. I would think about what would I play, and then I would bet on that they would play that. But that's not that's not going to be successful, because the grandmaster is not going to play like I play. He's going to play different moves. So I have to try to guess what the grandmaster would play.
I still play sometimes in a team Toronto team championship. So when I play a slow game, my first question is, what in this position Capablanca would play? I don't care what I would play. I'm asking what Capablanca would play in this position. And I start then think about Capablanca's games and his moves or so on. And my style is very different from Capablanca, mind you. So I'm maybe I'm doing a little bit modification of my style, and I'm not sure that I should do it, but still, it calms me down because I'm sometimes playing very risky chess because most of the chess I'm playing it's 3 minutes no increment chess. That's that's what I'm
Right.
specializing, and I beat a lot of 24, 2500 rating players. But then I could go to lose to somebody with 1800 because he's using chess engine, and sometimes they don't even hide it because what they do, they start game with h3, h3 moves type of thing, and you play normal developing moves or so on, but at move 15 you run out of ideas, the position is still complicated, and then he's outplaying you so easily. So this is another problem what I decided with the democratic chess concept to kill all the cheating in chess
Yes, that's so
because
brilliant.
because when there is a contest, this as a stockfish, I intentionally put stockfish on the screen so people will not cheating by trying to find the best moves by stockfish or by alpha zero or anything like this, because it's right in front of you, right on your screen. So there is impossible to cheat on the contest because
And
if
the grandmasters aren't necessarily going to play Stockfish's moves, so you're not
no,
going to win. You're not going to finish first if you just bet on the Stockfish
never
moves.
happened. I have a lot of people who were actually I haven't recommended them. Okay, you're not probably very strong player, so just follow first line of a stockfish. Never ever they got even fifth prize. Never
That
happened.
is amazing. So you eliminate cheating,
Yeah,
which is another democratic thing about your process.
absolutely.
Because everybody is in it for by themselves, and
Yeah,
even if you have say you're an 11-year-old kid with a grizzled veteran at your shoulder telling you what to play, that's not necessarily going to help you.
not
You
at
know.
all.
Yeah.
Actually, the way he won a contest was he was not among the leaders at all, but there was a situation where Grandmaster played the moves that nobody guessed. So the next move was for a lot of crowns, and he put 5 crowns on a very obscure move, and that move was made. So he grabbed like 5,000 crowns or so on. And you know who was leading at the time? Grandmaster from Baku, Gadir Guseynov. He's a member of Azerbaijan Olympic team.
Ah,
So he was leading, and all of a sudden the kid overcame here, and in one move the game was over. That's how he became a first prize winner. So
that's amazing.
it's
Anyone
amazing.
can win.
Anyone can win. Yeah, that's what is democratic chess is all about.
Yes.
And it's
But
entertaining and it's educational at the same time. By the way, one more thing why I'm talking about educational, because once the game is over, Grandmaster analyzes the game online, and they talk about the positions and so on. So you can really assess the level of understanding of the position and the moves that they recommend. Sometimes they argue in analysis too.
sure.
And sometimes we have esteemed commentators, grandmasters themselves, like grandmaster from Romania, Mikhail Marin, and he's
Yes.
participating in analysis as well. So it's a wealth of entertainment and education at the same time.
Right. And let me see if I can share a screen here. I'm not very good at this, so bear with me.
Okay.
And this is, I just went to your site, and anyone can do
Excellent.
this by going to the site that it is scrolling across the bottom of your screen. And this is the initial site of Chess Stars.
Hmm.
And this is where they would see the next tournament, the next contest.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
We will announce it soon, the next contest.
Okay, that's great. And so the idea here is that you're paying an entry fee or some sort of
No, it's
no,
free. It's
it's
free.
free.
The only thing is a world championship. We will have entry fee $9.99, which allows you, first of all, participate in hundreds of prizes in each of the qualifying tournaments. And the first prize, you go right into the final when the last prize will be $1,000. So once you made it from qualifying to the final tournament, final 100, the 100th place will give you, even if you will never choose even one move. You just sit there, you will get $1,000.
So you're telling me that it's free. I
Yes.
can I can win in advance and earn money,
Yeah. All you
and
need is to
at the
register for a contest. To,
you
to,
just
to,
register. You go
okay,
to
you
your
register
site.
on the site, you can do it anytime. And then 15 minutes or so before the contest, when registration opens, at that time you have to register for a contest, which is very simple procedure, just one click and you're in, and that's it. And then the contest starts.
And the contest is you placing bets, but also you're seeing Stockfish's guesses of
Yeah,
what the next best move would be. So you can see what the computer engines are telling you are the best moves, and you
right.
can think about what you would play, or you can think about what you think the grandmaster would play. And so you could tie yourself up in knots, or you could just guess and see what happens. And
Well, basically, in a contest, you have to make two decisions. Decision number one, which move will be actually made? For that, you see the position, so you can evaluate the position and think what would be the natural move to play, or better, even to think what this particular grandmaster is going to play in this position. Somebody like Shirov can do very creative moves and so on, and you have to think about that element as well. Number two, not number two, just part of number one, that you listen to commentaries of grandmasters like Mikhail Marin and others.
right.
You see the stockfish, which gives you two things. It gives you evaluation of position after the one of top three moves. So let's see, if you choose this move, the position will be plus 0.68. After this move, it will be 0.59, for example, or so on. Now, mind you, one thing what you should know, that evaluation of stockfish can change because it depends on how much time stockfish invests into each move.
Yes.
So let's see, after 1 second it could be one decision, but after 15 seconds it could change its mind about the top three, or it could, for example, move number two will become number one and move number one become number two. It's happened quite often.
Yeah.
And finally, you have to make so you have commentaries, you have stockfish, you evaluate position yourself, and decision number two: how many crowns to put on the moves that you are trying to do. Now that depends on your situation in the contest, how many crowns you have, how far you away are from the leaders, or if you are one of the leaders, then think what your opponents are going to do in this situation. But that's so there is some mysteries in
And
this.
if you're conservative by nature or risky by risk taking by nature, that will play into your decision as well. Excuse me, let me
Of
decline
course.
this call.
Yeah.
Pardon me. And it is so it's independent on the individual what they're naturally inclined to do. And I would say, I'm just guessing now, but if you know that a certain grandmaster usually opens e4, everybody's going to bet on e4. So whatever you bet is probably going to be, you know, distributed widely. So it's not going to be that big a deal. But it's like
Exactly.
that. But
Exactly.
like you were saying, when you predict a move that most others aren't predicting, and it's actually played, that's the big payoff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So at the beginning, okay, I can put, say, if I know that the move is e4, I could put 100 crowns and be one of the winners, but your win will be, I don't know, 6, 7 crowns if you're lucky. But maybe it makes good sense to put 5 crowns on, say, knight f3, maybe, or some other moves, but because just in case, if you're right, okay, so you will lose 5 crowns in the worst case scenario. By the way, after each move, you will get 5 crowns regardless whether you guessed the move or you didn't.
Oh,
So
so you always stay in it.
you understand it. So that mechanism we invented because if people, let's say they start risky, at the beginning you get 200 crowns. But let's say you put 100 crowns, you lost, and you put another 100 crowns, you lost. Then what you do? You still have 5 crowns, so you can put on next move 5 crowns and trying to rebuild your. You can buy. I think it's 4.95. You can buy another 200 crowns or so. But normally, people, chess players are not about to. Also, some of them they were buying crowns like during one game they would buy 10, 15 times because some people are just very. Actually, I would go as far as to say addictive.
Well,
You
they get really addictive is one definite possibility, but it also sounds like it's so much fun you don't want to just stop participating.
exactly. Well, but you see, some people like just to participate, and this is a great pleasure, and I agree with that. But some people, for them, the most important thing is to win.
Win
And
at all
in
costs.
the participation, they don't care so much for that. The best participation is winning for them.
Yes.
Well, in this case, okay, they can.
It's sort of like, why do you play the game if you don't want to win?
Yeah, well, it's still democratic chess at its best, but some democratic people are more aggressive than other democratic people, right? We know
But
that.
aggression is not always rewarded. So sometimes the conservative play is the best play. If who knows?
Right.
That's what I like about it. It's open to everyone of all personality types. And it doesn't matter what language you speak. It doesn't matter what country you're from. It just is for everyone.
Absolutely.
So I think it's a brilliant conception, and I wish you all of the success in the world. And I'd love to talk. You mentioned that your first love was music, and still is.
Still is.
And I've heard you play the piano before, and you're quite adept at piano. I don't know if you play other instruments as well, or is that your main?
I played violin, but to me it's incomplete instrument because you need except you play Ciccone Bach, which is for violin solo, but most other cases you need accompaniment to accompany the instrument. So on the piano it's more complete. You can actually create significant pieces.
So I want to I want to change the focus. Go ahead.
No, I wanted just to mention, because I mentioned that piece, Ciccone Bach, and it was transcribed by Busoni for piano. And his transcription on piano, just equally fantastic piece of music. So it's just
subject of taste. But I wanted to get back into the aesthetic quality of chess, because what I'm hearing from you is the appreciation of beauty, if I'm not putting words in your mouth, and you see and I know what you mean when you say this move is a beautiful move. But many, I think, even in the viewing audience, is they may not think of chess in terms of the aesthetic quality, the beauty of chess, and so you have to get to a certain level of skill before you can appreciate the beauty. Correct to say?
Yes, it is correct. Absolutely. And this is one of the difficulties of chess as a spectator's sport, for example, is the fact that you have to be on certain level of understanding of chess and to really appreciate the good moves, the positions, or so on. For example, like I'm watching now the European Soccer Championship, which is a fantastic event, but you don't need to be. I used to be a pretty good soccer player when I was a little bit younger. Last time I played soccer with my grandson about 10 years ago. Now there is no competition. He would outplay me. But you don't need to play soccer to appreciate the level of play and fantastic goals and combinations and so on. But it's very different in chess. You have
who's going to win, Italy or England?
I saw that England has, and still think probably England has better chances, but after this ugly penalty in the semi-final, I will root for Italy. Interestingly enough, I'm making bets on soccer, not on soccer, but some other sports, but mostly soccer, because simply I understand soccer much better. And right at the beginning of tournaments, there was options to predict the winners of the tournament. I predicted England and Italy, so I'm guaranteed the prize in any case.
So you're not sweating the final.
Yeah. I'm not sweating. And another fantastic final game will be in Latin American Championship,
Yes.
South America, which is tomorrow at 8 o'clock our time between Brazil and Argentina, and that will be an awesome, awesome game as
Yeah.
well.
I was able to in person watch the U.S. women's team play the Brazilian team, and I
Mhm.
must say the Brazilian fans were spectacular.
Of
They,
course.
they were just so enthusiastic.
I found quite interesting. I love to watch soccer commentaries on YouTube in
Hmm.
Spanish. I
Hmm.
don't know Spanish. I understand maybe a couple of words. That's it.
Go!
But the energy, the
Yes.
one of the goals that Messi scored, and the commentaries was Messi, 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 goal! That's fantastic. That's unfortunately missing in chess, that element of excitement or so on. So, but there are some good chess commentators. So I wish they will learn something from the Argentine chess
Yeah,
football.
that makes me think of Maurice Ashley. He tries to bring
But
that
he's
level
actually
of,
is good. He's
yes,
fantastic. Yeah, yeah. He's very very good.
yeah.
I like his
But
commentaries.
getting back to the aesthetic appreciation, this is something you grew up in Odessa, so I'm going to be way out of my fighting weight here when I talk about my love for Russian literature. And one of the things that the book I think is the most was it was recommended to me by Robert Hubner, uh, Master and the Margarita
Oh,
by
yeah. Bulgakov.
Bulgarov. Yes,
Bulgakov.
and so and then I also loved Dead Souls. Gogol, correct my
Yes.
pronunciation. Yeah,
Gogol.
Gogol. So there was this sense, and Bulgarov was writing about. He was very subversive in his writing because he was writing in this in Stalin era. But the Russian literature always got me this impression. They appreciated beauty in the world, but they didn't. They part of the appreciation was that it wasn't going to last forever. There was a sense that this is appreciate this while you have it. When you're listening to music, to a wonderful violin solo or a piano solo, appreciate it because it's not going to go on forever. Is that a fair comment to make about the Russian uh, approach to beauty, to aesthetic appreciation?
Um, I think that what makes the Russian literature unique, including both Gogol and Bulgakov, is that they are far more than just Russian literature. I think it's a world literature. Unfortunately, I'm not convinced that the translation, because most of the people in the West would read it in translation, and because I read all this in Russian and more than once, I I should be curious enough to get the translated works to see how it sounds in translation. But I'm afraid that I will be always critical of translation. To me, the the original work always will be supreme, and it will be difficult. But in my assessment, these great writers, including Leo Tolstoy, but you're right. I would say Dostoevsky as well. I would put him in the same league as Gogol and Bulgakov. They write about a human endeavors and psychotypes, not only Russian but the world figures, except that people in the West, writers in the West, probably they were restricted by social norms and many others that probably they could write something like that, but they didn't have probably enough chutzpah to do so. And although some great works of Western literature, whether it's English or French or German, of course, probably they are a little bit more restricted, whereas Russians At that time, there were no restrictions except that Bulgakov's case when he was writing
Yes.
in Stalin's time. But what's interesting is actually there's a well-known composer, Sergei Prokofiev, who emigrated to the West. He lived for a few years in France and the United States, and he had his diary. And a friend of mine in Toronto, he put a brilliant documentary movie, The Unfinished Diary. And he's providing a lot of interesting excerpts from his diary. But interestingly enough, I think it was in 1929, he came back to Russia. And there was not a single word entered into the diary. So when he passed away actually the same day as Stalin in March 5th, 1953. And there was not a single word after the day of return in 29. He stopped writing. Although before he was very explicit in his writing, he documented every day. The question always remains why he came back to Russia. And the answer, in my opinion, is that there was a fierce competition between him and Sergei Rachmaninoff.
Oh.
And Prokofiev's music is much more complex than Rachmaninoff's. And Rachmaninoff was a brilliant pianist. Prokofiev was pretty good pianist, but he couldn't touch Rachmaninoff. And of course, that situation, so he was always playing kind of a second fiddle as a pianist and then a fifth or 10th fiddle as a composer, which is not true at all. But at that time, his works were very complicated. And at that time, he had a personal invitation from Stalin and his Politburo, or there are other organizations, and they invited him. And they created excellent conditions for him, the apartment in the center of the Moscow, and he had concerts, and his programs were filled with his music and so on. So he's done quite well. And impact as a composer, I think Prokofiev is probably equal to Rachmaninoff. It's a matter of taste.
Yes.
But he equals Rachmaninoff. But you must understand the big difference in styles. So it's very difficult to find someone who will recognize both of them on the same level. Some people will say that Rachmaninoff is way better than Prokofiev, and some people will think opposite way.
Well, thank you. I'm just getting barked at in my ear. It's time for me to wrap up. But Sasha, I could talk to you for hours on any topic. Thank you so much for joining the show today. And I'm just going to take you backstage and with my appreciation once again. I'm very grateful for you to join us and to promote the Chess Stars, the democratic chess.
I hope EAT Foundation will participate in our endeavors.
Well, we're very similarly like-minded. So goodbye for now, Sasha. I will talk to you soon. All right. That was Sasha Starr with a wonderful description of democratic chess. And this has been the Chess Files. The answers are out there. And we're trying to build communities through chess. So it doesn't matter what language you speak. It doesn't matter what country you're from. And if you don't have the resources to get started, the Foundation can help you. So, and we exist by other people helping us. Help us to help them. So donations on our site would be greatly appreciated, of course. And I can tell you that there's no administrative cost. I absorb all of that. So every dollar that you contribute to the EAT Foundation will go to the programs that we administer and to the people that we try to help. So help us help them. Now, this show is the Chess Files. The answers are out there. It's every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And I hope you keep coming back. Goodbye for now.